Welcome to Music Discovery. This series is about listening closely to albums that reveal something deeper the more attention we give them. Today we're exploring the first EP by The Mission, released on this date in 1986. When this EP was released, I was already a fan of the Sisters of Mercy, and I remember witnessing things as they unfolded. First, hearing that Wayne Hussey and Craig Adams of the Sisters of Mercy had left and were starting a new band. Where I grew up, in Los Angeles, I wasn't privy to all the news as it happened. There was no internet in 1986. But I followed along as best I could, and I remember going to my favorite record store at the time, Bleecker Bob's on Melrose Avenue, to buy their first single when it was available. It changed me. For the next several years, they became one of the most important bands to me. Most of my friends also loved them. When the Mission would come to the West Coast, we would see them not only in Los Angeles, but follow them all around Southern California, San Diego, Orange County, or wherever they played. One time we even followed them to Tijuana, Mexico. I kind of lost track of them in the early 90s, coming back to them later, but this EP really meant something to me at the time. As I mentioned, Wayne Hussey, the vocalist, guitarist, and main songwriter, and Craig Adams, the bass player, were from the Sisters of Mercy. Craig Adams had been one of my favorite bass players and was one of my inspirations to start playing bass in about 1983. And while Wayne Hussey may not have been an original member of the Sisters of Mercy, in my opinion, his contribution to the band's sound is what really made the Sisters' first album, First and Last and Always, so strong. What became The Mission began to form in late 1985 and into 1986. Early on, they opened for The Cult on the Love Tour in the UK. What a show that would have been. Numeral I, its official title, is also referred to as Serpents Kiss, the A-side of this extended play single. The Mission were unique even from this first seed. Just listen to that beautiful guitar flourish that begins Serpent's Kiss. I've never heard anything like it. This wasn't chiming 12-string guitar. It was shimmering and radiant. It already contained the world the Mission would go on to create. They went on to inspire and co-create a small movement of bands, both in the UK and internationally. Following the beautiful guitar flourish I just mentioned, which begins Serpent's Kiss, the song starts off strong. Craig Adams' driving bass line and Simon Hinkler's guitar playing are also captivating, along with Mick Brown's driving drums. Naked and Savage is an interesting and great track as well. It begins with a drum machine, perhaps a reference to their Sisters of Mercy days, followed by a heavily treated strum of a guitar chord, then by Craig Adams' signature bass tone, before Mick Brown comes in with a beautiful tribal beat that launches the song. And the Eastern-sounding guitar riff is somewhat evocative of the Sisters, but this isn't the Sisters. This is something new. Wake RSV closes out the EP, with Wayne playing an acoustic guitar and Simon playing keyboard. Another hauntingly beautiful song. There's already a sense, even here, of the emotional world Wayne Hussey would continue exploring throughout the Mission's work. Later in 1986, a second EP followed, entitled Numeral II, and then another, Numeral III, and their debut album, God's Own Medicine, was also released. 40 years later, this music still sounds fresh and otherworldly to me. After multiple lineup changes over the years and several hiatuses, the Mission have been recording and touring with this original lineup once again, albeit with a new drummer. Their last album, Another Fall from Grace, was released in 2016 with this same lineup. It is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'll be covering that one on its 10th anniversary later this year. If you haven't heard the EP before, I encourage you to spend some time with it. And if you have, I'd love to hear what you notice when you listen again. The 3 tracks of this EP are available on the compilation album, The First Chapter, but they are out of order on this album, so I'd recommend listening to them in the order Serpent's Kiss, Naked and Savage, and Wake RSV.